Did you know that 90% of the world's millionaires have a substantial holdings in real estate? What does that mean to you? If you're not investing in real estate, you're behind the 8 ball and you're not on the path to riches. Hi, my name is Jerome D. Love, and I'm the host of the Black Money Tree podcast, and I've been a real estate investor for over 25 years, and I have a substantial holdings in real estate that's allowed me and put me in a position where I could have retired before the age of 40. But don't worry, if you're behind the 8 ball, I'm here to help, and these masterclasses are gonna help you on your journey. The second masterclass is called Profitable Prospecting. We're gonna show you where do you find the most profitable properties? How do you evaluate them? How do you know what repairs to do? This course is gonna revolutionize you and help you on your path to building wealth. Before we get into today's course, make sure you click that like, subscribe, and share the wealth. Send this to someone else and encourage them to join in. And if you'd like to book a personal coaching call, there's a link in the description. Click it and book your call with me today. Welcome to the Black Money Tree Masterclass. Today's lesson is profitable prospecting. This is one of my favorite topics. If you've read any of my books or if you've seen any of the other masterclasses, you know I just light up and I get excited about real estate because that's where I cut my teeth. I got my real estate license when I was in college and have been in real estate for almost 25 years. I started investing in real estate really early on, revamped my strategy, and I just believe in real estate. And I believe in the Black Money Tree, and I'm so excited that you've tuned in because I believe that this is the first step in helping you to build wealth. Now, the Black Money Tree just isn't just about helping you to build wealth so you can have nice things. Certainly you can have nice things. We want you to have nice things. But if the Black community as a whole is going to become more sustainable and to reverse many of the ills that's facing our society, it's going to be because we have the resources to do so. I believe that each and every one of us should be empowered to choose our own destiny. I always tell the story, and I'll tell it again. I remember when my dad got sick from cancer. He had a sedated MRI. He liked to do everything on his own. And he went to his sedated MRI by himself. The doctor said, "We can't do that MRI, sir. We need someone who's 18 here for you." He calls me. My office was about 10 minutes away. And he said, "Son, I need you." I said, "Well, what do you need?" He said, "I need this procedure and they need someone here who's 18. I packed up my computer. I went, he got his procedure. I took him back to the hotel, sat at the foot of his bed, did all of my work, didn't miss any of my resources because I was able to do my work. And when he woke up, we went to lunch and we had a conversation about what success really looked like. And I said, "I think that this is success because you needed me. I was able to be there for you. And I didn't have to worry about, am I not going to be able to pay my mortgage or how is this going to affect my job?" And we need more people like that within the Black community. So if we're going to build our own communities, it's going to be because we have the resources to do so. Now, the Black Money Tree advocates for 2 primary ways of wealth building: entrepreneurship and real estate, both of which I've had more than 20 years of experience in. I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lost a lot of money, but I've also figured out ways to make money as an entrepreneur and as a real estate investor. And I'm going to share with you my ways of doing it and what has helped me to be successful. Now, in the first masterclass on real estate, go to bearealestateinvestor.com. Let me say that first. Bearealestateinvestor.com. There's a free masterclass on real estate investing. It's about 30, maybe 35 minutes, and it kind of walks you from A to Z on real estate investing, and it tells my story and my strategies of why I do what I do the way that I do. I say that to say my strategies are buy, hold, long-term investments. I also believe investing in lower income communities because I believe you get a greater return on your investment. Some people may have different ways of doing it. Some people may flip. if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, you make $20,000, $30,000 a month, maybe cash flow isn't what you need. Maybe you're just trying to make a little extra money. You want to flip a property here and there. But me, I didn't have that type of money coming in. I needed something coming in that was stable, that would allow me to be able to grow and build my businesses. So that was the motive behind my motivation. So if your motive is different, some of the tactics and the strategies that the Black Money Tree teaches may be altered a little bit, but I can assure you, if you're just starting out, and even if you have a real estate portfolio and it's looking to grow and scale it, these principles can and will help you. So today's lesson is profitable prospecting, how to find profitable investment properties. So before I get into the lesson, I want to tell kind of a small story. We probably kind of heard the story. It's about the man that falls out the boat and is stuck in the middle of the ocean. And he says, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die. I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean. So what does he do? He prays to God, Lord, please save me. I'm in the middle of this ocean and I need some help. And as he's praying, there's a guy in the paddle boat. He comes up and he says, hey man, get in this boat. I'm gonna help to save you. I'm gonna take you back to shore. And he says, nah, don't worry about it, man. I just prayed to God. God is gonna help me out of this situation. He says, man, I'm right here. What are you waiting on? Get in the boat. He says, no, I'm gonna believe God. So the boat leaves, and then next thing you know, there's a helicopter that flies over, and they drop down the ladder, and they say, sir, climb up. They say, no, I prayed to God, and God is going to send me help to get me out of this situation. So the helicopter leaves, and next thing you know, there's a cruise ship, and they lower down one of their life rafts, and they say, sir, get in this life raft so we can save you. He says, sir, I believe God. I'm going to have faith. I'm not going to get in that life raft because I prayed to God, and I'm going to trust that God is going to save me. So the cruise ship leaves, and we know the story. No other help comes. The guy drowns and he dies, and he goes to heaven and says, well, God, what happened? Why didn't you save me? He says, man, well, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter, and I sent you a cruise ship. So what's the point of the story? Many times we're looking for help, we're looking for good investment properties, but we don't really know what we're looking for. So it's important that if you're going to be successful in investing in real estate, that you know what to look for. Now, I know that may sound simplistic, but the reality is most of us don't know what we're looking for when we get in this business. Now, I'm going to share my personal story. I bought my first house when I was about 22. I bought my first rental house when I was maybe 23. By the time I was 25, 26, I had 8 rental units. Now, that may sound good, but before I was 30, I had 4 foreclosures. Why? Because I really didn't have any strategies. I didn't have any mentors. I actually had a mentor, the guy that was mentoring me, but I wasn't listening. So he mentors me now. I listen now. After I lost all my houses, he said, you ready to learn now? And he began to explain to me what he did and how he did it. And I began to learn and I began to grow. And I finally got the courage up to take a plunge. So I went to go prospect the house. It was kind of raggedy looking, a little dilapidated. It was a little bit outside my comfort zone, but I felt like my mentor would think it was a good property. So I got out and I looked at the house. I said, okay, it could use a little paint. The windows a little bad. I walked around the left side of the house. Everything looks good. And as I walked around the right side of the house, a pit bull came lunging for me and I was attacked by a pit bull. So I ran to my car and I jumped in and I wrote on my little note sheet, it was a tax auction property. Okay, I'll pay $10,000 for this house. I go to the tax auction and lo and behold, I won the bid. So I won the bid for $10,000. And I called my mentor, hey, I got a property, meet me there in an hour. He said, okay, I'm on the way. So he came, and when I walked around the house where the pit bull attacked me, the pit bull was gone, but I noticed there was a tree on top of the house. The whole bottom half, the back half was crushed in. You could see the ceiling from the inside, and it'd been raining and all kinds of stuff in there for years. We crowbarred the door open. There was all kinds of trash and debris on the inside. Matter of fact, there was a refrigerator that was full of food, that there was no electricity in the house, and that food had been there, I don't know, 3-4 years. There's rats running around the house, and I was just upset. I was like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? I bought this house, I've lost my money. Now, my mentor friend realized it was a great deal, and he realized that I couldn't see that it was a great deal. To this day, that's probably the most profitable property in my portfolio. And he was hyping me up. Okay, you don't want it? Give it to me. Give me a house for $10,000. And I actually thought about it. Man, I need to get my $10,000 back. But he hyped me up. And through the process, I learned the process of construction. And like I say, to this day, that is the most profitable property that I have. And it was a great deal, but I didn't really know what I was looking for. So that's what we're going to talk about, profitable prospecting, helping you to evaluate properties to determine what's a good deal and what's not. And you got to understand, a good deal isn't based upon what's cute or what everybody else is doing. It's based upon what's going to put the most money in your pocket. So our 2 learning objectives is really just defining what profitability is. And then we're going to talk about the 5 sources to finding profitable properties. So first off, how do you define a profitable prospect? First off, a profitable prospect is a property that's going to put money in your pocket. That is a profitable prospect. So you always got to start out with a budget. You got to understand, how much money do I have? How much money do I have to invest in rehab? And what is the property going to rent for? That's it. It's not about if it's cute. It's not about if it has a 2-car garage. It's not about the color paint was the way my mama's was when I was a little kid. All of that's emotional. You know, that's emotional stuff. This is about bottom line. So if you're going to be a success in investing in real estate, you got to understand it's about the bottom line. So when you're prospecting properties, look at it from the perspective of what is going to make me the most money. That's the only thing you really care about. Now, that's primarily it. All right. So before we get to our last point, I want to share one quick message. Did you know that 30% of people who set goals will actually accomplish those goals? The reason I'm sharing that, you watch more than 70% of this program, which means that you're head and shoulders above the average. And I know you're serious about building your wealth in real estate. But the truth of the matter is, while there's a lot of good information that I'm providing, nothing compares to being able to pick up the phone and call someone that's been there, done that, and is willing to help you through the process. So for a limited time only, I'm going to allow you to book a consulting call with me. There's a link in the description that you can book a call with me, 1 hour, and I'll walk you through whatever it is you need. I'll answer whatever questions you have, which I believe is irreplaceable. When I started my business, I had a mentor. He helped me with whatever I need, and I wanted to be able to do the same for you. Also, get the book, Closing the Wealth Gap. This has so much more information and detail information that I'm not able to go through this course, but you can get it on Amazon. There's also a link in the bio or in the description below. And if you're in the Houston area, check out our own on-site, on-location prospecting. You can book me. I'll come out. I'll assess your house. I'll help you meet with the contractors. So many resources that I think would be necessary that will help you in building wealth in real estate. Now, lastly, you may be feeling a little overwhelmed, and you may say, growing my wealth in real estate may be kind of far-fetched, but that's normal. I want you to check out this message from one of my top mentees, Mr. Onaje Barnes. He started out with me. He started out with 1 single family house, and he's now on his 3rd apartment complex. Check out his story, and then we'll be right on to the next point. The one conversation I remember is we was talking about buying a house, and I was saying, every time I have a kid, I'm going to buy a house, and that's going to be my college fund. Yeah. You said, man, that's the same way, you know.
Yeah, that was exactly how I started. Process. Yeah. I mean, that literally was my mindset. But literally, we started from just a simple aspect of, one, we used our first home as an investment property. If you buy right up front, right? And real estate 101 is we make our money when we buy, right? That's real estate 101, right? And so for me, I wanted to use that same mentality on our first house, which we did. I got a great loan on that first house.
I remember. I was your realtor.
I remember somebody was my realtor. Right. So we did buy a foreclosure, got a good deal on it, put some sweat equity into it, put some, we put some money into it. It was listed for $180. My pretty good dope realtor, he was able to negotiate $135, and I put about $35 into it, so I'm like all in for like $160, $165, somewhere around there. And within like 6 months, we had a $240,000 appraisal. So I got that cash out early, and you were like, hey, I got these deals. I got, maybe she'll sell you 4 of them. I'm like, okay. I looked at 4 or 5 of them, and I was like, okay, I want a couple of these or whatever. And I'm like, man, what can I get them for? He's like, well, you can't get into them. I was like, well, man, I can't walk them into the property. Like, I can't pay full price. He's like, all right, cool. We'll figure it out. Blah blah. So we got those houses for $16,500 each. Yeah. So it was 2 of them. But long story short, I'm renting them for $13.50 now. Wow. Right? And that's probably still on the market. Yeah. So I'm renting them for $13.50. I did do a cash out refi because I'm a burst strategy guy. So I did a cash out refi about 3 years ago. Pulled $100,000 from both of them. Whoa. Pulled $100,000 from both of them. So to bring it a little bit home, that 21 unit complex that you toured, I bought that with the $200,000 from the 2 deals.
And those 5 places are, number 1, realtors, number 2, tax auctions, number 3, the multiple listing service, number 4, word of mouth, and number 5 is mailers. Now, of course, there are probably some other ways, but I'm primarily telling you what we have done that has been a success for us. So now let's talk about realtors. Now, you can see that picture right there. That's a picture of me. Why? Because I'm a real estate broker. I've been in real estate since I was in college. But you have to understand this. Realtors make their money off of commissions. They don't make their money when you make money. When you're dealing with an investment broker or a banker, they may make some fees or some upfront type deals, but ultimately they also make money when you make money. So understand that about a realtor. I've had so many cases where realtors will say, hey man, I got this great deal. It's going to make you a lot of money. But I often think, how can you tell me what a great deal is when you really don't know what my criteria are, what I'm looking for? I joke with my current mentor because when we first began working together, before he had kind of taught me everything that he knew, he would always say, hey, Jerome, I got a little extra money. You have any properties for me? And I would send him all these properties, and he would always deny them. And I told him that he used to get on my nerves. And he told me, well, you were getting on my nerves too, because you were sending me all these properties that didn't fit my criteria. But the reality is I didn't know his criteria. See, I was always taught that an investment should yield about 20% of whatever the payment was. So if you have a $100,000 house, that's $1,000 a month. So the rent should be about $1,200. His criteria was different. I was sending him criteria based upon what I thought was a good deal, but I didn't understand what he wanted. So that being said, just understand you have to hold your realtor accountable. You have to make sure they understand what it is that you're looking for, and you also have to ask a lot of questions to determine whether or not they can help you in terms of meeting your goals. I often use the quote from KRS-One. He said, if you don't know the history of the author, then you don't know what you've read. So if you're going to take advice from someone or suggestions from someone, such as a realtor that's saying that this is a good deal, you probably want to know a little bit about their background. What are they doing? Do they invest in real estate, or do they make all of their money from commissions? That's just a real question. I'm not knocking the profession. I'm a realtor, been a realtor for a while. I will continue to be a realtor, but just understand that realtors make their money off of commissions. You got to know your numbers. You got to know what a good deal looks like. I had a guy, I remember when I bought my first one friend of mine who was a realtor, and he's in finance. He came by to help me clear out some trash, and he looked at it and he said, "Man, you just bought a money pit, huh?" And at the time, I thought I had bought a money pit because I hadn't learned the things that I learned now. But he was a realtor. He's a guy who's into finance, and he couldn't see, but it's increased my net worth, and it's given me a steady stream of income. So the point is, you can go to a realtor, but ultimately you're going to have to do your own homework. Don't expect that they're just going to send you something and know exactly what it is you want. The next source is tax auctions. Now, I love tax auctions. That's where the majority of the properties in our portfolio have been acquired. The tax auction in Texas. Now, I'm in Texas. I believe most of this is universal, but don't quote me on it. Make sure you check with your own municipalities, your own counties, if you're in Illinois, North Carolina, California, wherever. But in Texas, the tax auction takes place the first Tuesday of every month at 10 o'clock. In Houston, it used to take place downtown. Now it's on the south side at the Bayou Event Center. So there is a website called publicans.com. Now, Publicans, it governs Texas. They also have 8, 9, maybe 10 other states. So go to that website to determine if they handle your state as well, and you can go there and find prospects. If not, check with your local governing officials to find out where you can get lists of the tax properties that are up for auction. But if you're in the Houston, Harris County area, anywhere in Texas, go to publicans.com. You can put in your county. You can put in the precinct that you want. You can put in your price range and parameters. You can even put the tax sale date, and it'll come up with a list of properties. But the main thing to know when dealing with a tax auction, you gotta be patient. I went to the tax auction for 9 straight months before I got my first property. And the fourth point here is to control your emotions. It's a high intensity emotional environment. When you've gone to an auction, you're excited about real estate, you want to get in the game, and you've gone 9 months in a row and can't get anything. I was a bit frustrated and I was a bit emotional because the property that I bought for $10,100, my budget was $10,000. So I remember it was up for, let's say, $3,000. The opening bid was $3,000. Somebody said $3,500, $4,000, $4,500, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $9,500. And then the other person said $10,000. And I was like, dang, I'm going to lose again. But I was a little emotional. I was frustrated. So I broke this rule, but you don't break it. And I said $10,100. And the presiding person says $10,001 going once, going twice, sold to bidder number, whatever my bidder number was. And that's how I got my first property. So, but make sure you are not emotional. Set yourself a plan. Visit the properties ahead of time. So the auction is on the first Tuesday of every month. I would normally go out Saturday, Sunday, look at the properties. I would put a sheet down, write the property, write a little description, like it, will pay up to $20,000, bad neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. But for me, the most important part is how much I would be willing to pay. Now, cautionary tale, that was my strategy. It's always a good idea to also visit the property the morning of auction. One time I went to auction. I looked at the property on that Saturday. I liked the property, wrote my number down, go to the auction. I bid. No one bid against me. I got the property, $28,000. I was so excited. I drove, went back to the house, and when I looked, I said, man, the house looks a little bit funny. It's a little bit different. Windows were busted. And when I walked around the back, it was all black. The house had been burned the day before. 40% of the house had been burned. I didn't know. So now what I do is the morning before auction, I go to the properties on the way to the auction to make sure they're in the same condition. See, there's a lot of experiences I've had that almost destroyed me. And the beauty of these master classes is they can help you to learn from the mistakes that I made. Now, the next area is the multiple listing service. This is the database that most realtors go to. This is also the database that most of your internet services, your Zillow, your Trulia, your HotPads, all of that type of stuff. This is where they get their properties from. So you have access to this. Realtors have a little bit more detailed access, but you can go to these sites to find properties that may or may not meet your criteria for what you're looking for in terms of investments. But also know you got to go buy them, actually get in, look at them or whatnot. At the tax auction, it's kind of as is. Sometimes the window's been busted out, doors is open, I can get in. Sometimes it's closed up, it's boarded up. All you can do is look at the exterior. So, but once you kind of get in it, you can kind of estimate what the construction costs are, and then you can determine your bid based upon that, even without going on the inside once you kind of done it long enough. Next is word of mouth. This is one of the best ways for me. When people refer you, you tend to have credibility. And when you start working in some of these lower income areas, you have a lot of crack houses, you have a lot of dilapidated properties. And when you start rehabbing these properties, making them look like new, putting good tenants in there, people are going to advocate for you. They're going to want to refer people to you. So make sure you work your relationships, do quality work, and people will refer deals to you. And there's no cost. And in many respects, you'll get great deals. And then the last thing is mailers. Now, if you are in investments or if you have investment properties, you probably get these. I get at least 10 to 12 letters, calls saying, hey, we want to buy your home, fast cash for homes, that type of stuff. So I also am one of those guys that send those letters. So forgive me if you've gotten one of my letters. But here's a sample. But ultimately, this can be very lucrative. I haven't done as much there. I have done about 3 to 4 mailers over the years. I have picked up a couple properties from it as well. But like I say, for me, I cut my teeth at the tax auction. The problem with mailers, if you will, while the properties made money for me, but mailers require upfront expense. Depending upon how many you mail, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, just depending upon what you're mailing, how many you're mailing. But in relation to word of mouth and some of the other areas, the cost is way higher for mailers. Man, I know you enjoyed all of that great information, but now that you know where to find the properties, which is critically important, you need to know how to rehab the properties, where to find the contractors. At the Black Money Tree, we believe in creating wealth. That means you're gonna have to get your hands dirty and do some work. So in the next course on finding the contractor, we're gonna talk about the different type of contractors that are out there and how to negotiate with them, and also what repairs to do when, because finding the right contractor can make or break your budget. So make sure you tune in, and before you go, like, subscribe, and don't be selfish. Share this information with someone else, and if you want to book a call, click the link in the description.